help each other, Christina. It's okay.
I appreciate it. Alrighty, so we should be recording now because it's giving me the option to pause. So welcome to tonight's call in our 6 Weeks to Success program. I'm going to ignore my dog. If you hear him cry, ignore him because he wants something and I'm not paying attention. Okay, so this is class 2. So welcome. Last week we talked a little bit about our belief system, and I assigned some homework to watch the Product Pros have bigger shows. And Lanisha shared some great tips that she had to take away from that. So Lanisha, for those who did not have a chance to watch the replay or read your response, can you give us a little quick synopsis of what you learned from watching the homework? Put you on the spot.
Sure, yeah. It was a really good recording from the show. I basically learned about some products, how to use some products, and recipes you can use with them. I also learned about some tips when you're at your party. One of the tips was ask the host or the guest how they use their Pampered Chef products, because they use them probably different than you do. So it's something you can take away from that and you can learn as well. Also, talk about your Pampered Chef power tools, because if they see them, they talk about them more and they want to buy them more. So if they don't see them, you don't talk about them, then you're less to make those orders for those power tools. Also, another one that I really like was companions. So when they're buying something, also offer them the companion with it. Like, you don't want to buy the grill without the grill cleaner or the brush or the grill set. We now have a grill set with our spring products and stuff. So always offer the companion to go with the product that you are selling, just so you can. It's called upselling. That's what she called it. So she said at checkout, it's called upselling, and you just basically ask them, hey, well, here's the brush. Do you want to, buy the brush to go along with your grill? So
right.
It's just, those are some good tips that I took away from it.
One thing that I always do when I sell the brownie pan, I always cross-sell it with the mini nylon serving spatula, because it gets the brownies out perfectly, and because it is supposed to be a hand wash only item, you can always suggest the round scrub brush as well, and that's 2 add-on products to make that product even better. But yeah, be thinking about what ways you can cross-sell, definitely. Those of you who have not had a chance to watch that yet, it is amazing. I was talking to Lanisha earlier today, and I was saying, if it's been a while since you've had a show, or that your next show is not for 2 weeks, you might want to listen to that or watch that video once or twice between now and your next show, because the more you hear things, the more those words are going to become your words. Because you might be thinking, well, I don't even own that product. I don't know how to talk about it. But if you hear me talk about it, or Bobby talk about it, or, Michael, or any of those people that are doing these videos and posting them, you're able to say, well, my friend Susie does this, my friend Christina does this, my friend, Bobby does this with it, and it works amazing. So definitely a great one to listen to. So now that you guys have some amazing selling skills under your belt, and those of you who haven't listened to the recording, please do. It's amazing, some great information. We want to be able to start sharing these tips when you're at your shows and when you're out and about, so that it's natural to start talking about bookings and prospecting next. So, and I put the PowerPoint together, so a lot of this you're going to see me. Those of you who can't see the screen, I'm reading it, but those of you who are in front of the computer, if you're a visual person like me, it kind of helps to see it together. So it's super easy to share what you're so excited about once you're educated on it. And that's so true. We might love the rock crock because in theory, but if we're not using it, you can't really have that passion behind it on all the things that the rock crock can do. But we have these amazing products that can change people's lives. Did you know that statistically, families who eat dinner together have children who do better on their SATs? They have better interviewing skills. They're less promiscuous. They're less apt to do drugs, smoke, or drink, all because they ate dinner together as a family. And, my kids aren't teenagers yet, so I don't know any of the rest of that stuff. My kids are brilliant, and I attribute that to partly my genes because I'm kind of awesome. Just kidding. But also because we do family mealtime, and because that is something that we value and is important to us. So I'm hoping the rest of it becomes true as well, where they do better on all their test scores and the other stuff. I don't want them doing any of the bad stuff either. So, but when you know information like this, you can share it at your shows. And why would you not want to share what you know? How does How does that make you feel to know that you're having an impact on future generations just by going to work? You know, being able to share this opportunity, being able to share recipes that make it so easy for people to come around the table quickly. And it's really easy to share when you're out and about. We talked about this a little bit at training on Monday night. Wear something with the Pampered Chef logo. Carry a Pampered Chef bag or a catalog tote. We used to have those. I might have some here. I might have to bring them back out and do some surprise gifts and send them out in the mail. But you know, if you're bold enough, wear your apron to the grocery store. I used to do this when we lived in Ocala, honestly, because I would be going home from a show and I would stop at the store and I have my apron on and I'd forget it was there. just getting in the car, getting ready to go home. And then I would get there and people were like, oh my gosh, Pampered Chef. And then I was like, I should start doing this intentionally. So if you're bold and you want to wear your apron, people will approach you. But, you know, an idea is, you know, carry recipe cards with you. You know, you can always get a pack of 25 or 30 recipe cards for like $1 on a supply order. I probably have some here. If you don't want to, if you're not placing a supply order, if you just text me and let me know, hey, do you have any? I'll look for them because they're somewhere. I couldn't tell you. They're not within a sight of my line of sight, but they're here somewhere. So I can look for them and then make sure to get some sent to you or bring them to training if I know you're going to be here locally with me. But, you know, an idea is there's an amazing recipe card for the naughty brownie recipes. So a suggestion is, you know, go down the brownie aisle, pretend you're buying the ingredients to make the naughty brownies and ask, you know, and yes, I actually want you to talk to people when you're out and about. I know that's crazy, but just ask them, hey, do you know anyone who, I got sidetracked. Anywhere people, sorry, let me back up. So yeah, take them and pass them out and ask people, hey, do you have is this a good brownie mix to use? Is this a good brand? You know, whatever you want to do to be able to strike up a conversation, let them know you're trying a new recipe, give them the recipe card. Now the key is you want to make sure you have your contact information on that recipe card. You don't just want to give it away willy-nilly. You want to give it away with your information, and you also want to give them an opportunity to call you back or for you to follow up with them. So we do have some of these. If you don't have any of these Post-it notes, and those of you who are on the phone, I'm holding up a little stack of, it's a Post-it notes, like a set of 25, and it's these little, almost like the drawing slips, but it's in Post-it form. So you can take these and put it right on top. That didn't work. Liz is going to see. I said you can put it right on top, and I stuck it to my hand, but it didn't stick. I was like, well, that didn't work. But the Post-its will stick to paper, just not to people, apparently. No. So stick it to your recipe card. That way you can say, well, you know, it was so nice meeting you here in the brownie aisle, Liz. Go ahead. Can I get your name and number just so I can follow up with you and see what you thought of that recipe? Or if they're like, oh my gosh, I love Pampered Chef, you can go, oh, well, hey, you know, let me follow up with you and get you one of those new catalogs. You want to have this filled out, so you're just not giving your information away. You want to have a reason to call them back. And I'm not crazy, I promise. Everywhere you go, people have to eat, and most people struggle with dinner, you know, figuring out what to make for dinner. I know it wasn't just me before Pampered Chef, where you're looking at the fridge and the cabinet and saying, okay, what are we making tonight? Because I don't ever have a game plan on what I'm making. I figure it out that night. So, and there are so many people around us that are in that same situation. So with Pampered Chef, we have these great recipes and these great tools to share with people so that we can help solve some of their dinner dilemmas. And I do think that it's being selfish if you don't share what you know. So the example, the words to say for that brownie mix, you know, is that a good brownie mix brand? I'm making this recipe tonight to try out. Show them the naughty brownie recipe card. See, I knew I had this somewhere in this slide. I wrote it all out so I would remember to tell you. Do you think this is a good brand? And then you strike up a conversation. Then bring in, you know, because they'll see Pampered Chef on there. Bring in, oh my gosh, have you heard of Pampered Chef? They always respond with, I love Pampered Chef, every time. So, so when's the last time you were at a party? Would you like to see a new product flyer? You know, I'd love to follow up with you and see what you think about the new products. Can I get your information? Use the little Post-it stickers, or if you don't have these, you can also use the drawing slip cards that came in your new consultant kit. And I will tell you, right now, if you do not make a point to call them within 24 hours, 2 days is probably the max. 24 to 48 hours, you might as well just crumple this up and throw it away. It's not doing you any good because they lose interest 10%. They lose 10% interest every single day after they've met you. So if you don't call them within that first 24 hours, chances are you're not gonna get anything out of them to host a party, to see the new line, to do any of that. So in a checkout line, you might say something like this: "I can't wait to try these brownies at home. Don't they look amazing?" She asks about them, and you say, "Have you heard of Pampered Chef?" Again, repeat. "I love Pampered Chef." Or copy that same thing. The more you're using these word choices, the easier it gets to do it later. So you could say something along the lines of, "Here's a copy of our latest spring products. Check out this veggie spiralizer. It's taking the noodle world by storm," because people are loving that thing. You don't have to use my quirky words. Use whatever you want. But I'd love to follow up with you and see what you think about all the new products. And then just get their information so you can follow up. That's called being a consultant. You want their information so you can consult them on what they might need for their kitchen. Now, if they get really excited about the product, then ask them if they'd like to have a show and get them all for free instead. It's really that easy. And sharing is just caring about the people around you and having a conversation. When you start seeing it as a service instead of a chore, it usually becomes much more fun and easy to do. So that's called prospecting. Those of you who were at training the month Bobby and I did our prospecting, this is going back to that. And it's prospecting when you're out and about. So you also want to make sure that you are prepared for when someone asks you, "What do you do?" Because most of us think about our day job. So for me, it's like, "Oh, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom," or then I forget to go, "Oh yeah, I'm Pampered Chef." Or, when I was working, it was like, I'm an office manager for a construction company, because that's where your mind automatically goes. But they're not paying you to advertise for them after hours. So be thinking about your little 30-second or 20-second elevator commercial for Pampered Chef, because if not, you're going to end up fumbling and trying to come up with words to describe what you do. So here are some examples of what you can do for your 20-second commercial. And when someone asks you, "What do you do?" you can say, "I help create mealtime memories with quality tools and tasty recipes." Or, "I show busy families how to get dinner on the table in less than 30 minutes. Or something like, "I help people realize that cooking can be fun when you have the right tools." Or something like, "I help people discover their inner Rachel Ray." When I go to a show and I already pre-prep some of the ingredients, I always tell them, "I already Rachel Rayed this for you," because I already have it ready to go. And that's what she does. She preps everything, has it all there ready for her shows. And all of these are designed for people to, then ask you, "Well, what do you do?" "Oh, I'm with the Pampered Chef." Because if you set it up and you don't say Pampered Chef first, but you're saying one of these sentences first, well, what do you do? "I help create mealtime memories with quality tools and tasty recipes." Well, what do you do? "Oh, I'm with the Pampered Chef. Have you heard of us?" 99% of the time, the response is going to be, "I love Pampered Chef." And then you can always say, "I'm so glad I'm not a lawyer. No one ever says, 'Oh, I love lawyers.'" So now that we've prospected all over, let's talk about booking at your shows, because bookings, and I know that Chris Kilby said on Monday nights, they're parties, but honestly, it's when you set a date in your calendar, you have booked that date. That's where the terminology bookings come from, is because you've booked a date. So bookings are the heart of our business, and the magic number is 2. And I always say this because you never want to close a party without 2 bookings. I always say 2 is because 1 is to, you have to have 1 show to replace the one you just did, and you have to have 1 to grow your business. So 2 shows from every show is always better, because, and we did that formula of those of you who were with us for Julie Aldridge when she came, then she talked about the structure of when you book 2 shows from every show versus 1 show from every show, and how after month 3 of the business, when you're doing your 2 shows from every show, you're going to be able to have 20 bookings at the end of 3 months, where at the end of 3 months with 1 show, you end up with 0 bookings. Sean, I am out here now. You need to pause that and go to your room. No, it is past bedtime and I am working. Thank you. Okay, also you can always add a catalog or a virtual party onto your show calendar. That's gravy or icing on the cake. I'm a cake person. So if you like gravy or cake, throw it on top. You're good to go. but you never want to close a show without 2 bookings. So if you let your host know ahead of time, hey, Liz, our goal from your party is to have at least 2 of your friends that want to host parties of their own. So when you're talking to people, you're going to get the no's right away of those people who can't come. Encourage them to host their own party, because then you're going to get an extra half-price item when they host their show. Plus, it's going to help us to reach that 2-show goal that we have. When you set those expectations up at the beginning, it gives them the opportunity to know what you're looking for and what you're looking for from them. So in order to get 2 bookings, you have to ensure you do a few things. There's only 17 listed.
Is that all?
It's only a few. But to host coach effectively, we're going to be talking about host coaching next week. So that's going to be a good one for sure, because host coaching is my favorite part. I always say that is where I make my paycheck. I go to my party to pick it up. So we are going to be talking about host coaching next week, but make sure you show up on time for your parties, or try to show up at least 30 minutes early, those of you that are doing cooking shows. Virtual parties, make sure that you're posting regularly, but not overly obsessive or you get put into Facebook jail. Make sure all your dishes are clean, especially if you have pets. I know that I have a dog who sheds. So, or, if I'm washing things without the kitchen light on, I don't catch everything. You want to make sure when you're showing up to your host house that you don't have cat or dog hair on your dishes, because then they're going to be like, I'm not eating out of that. Make sure you're appropriately dressed. You don't have to dress up. We do not have a dress code with the Pampered Chef. No one is firing you if you show up in shorts and flip-flops. I usually kind of gauge what I'm wearing based on my host. So if I know she's a more casual person, she's going to be in shorts and a t-shirt, I'll probably wear shorts and a t-shirt because that's what her friends are going to be wearing. If it's usually my older groups, they are my dressier groups. They like to dress up to go out. I'll dress up to go out. If I know I've got a party group, I'm going to dress a little bit more fun. So I kind of gauge my attire to my audience. And you'll find that out when you're seeing them on Facebook and you're kind of seeing their day-to-day life. You'll kind of know where they're at. Smell good. People like when you smell good, Don't go running first and then go into your show, take a little bit of time to put all this together. But you want to also talk about your high-priced products, because what happens with that is, and I know Lanisha touched on this, when you're showing off the high-ticket items, you will get the booking for it. Not very many people want to pay $250 for a skillet, but they'll host a party to get it half price because that's an amazing skillet, and I can get it, and it's a lifetime warranty. So, but you also want to make your host feel very special and appreciated. One thing I do at my shows, my live shows that I love and my hosts love, is that I always say I'm going to put my host on the spot. And I have all of her friends go around the room and tell me their name and give me one word to describe our host. Because I want my host to feel like she's loved. So they'll say stuff like, oh, she's creative, she's spontaneous, she's adventurous, she's so funny, she's my best friend. Whatever it is, they're going to tell me a word to describe her. And then I always say, how's your head feeling? She's like, I think I'm good. But they love that, those verbal, you got atta girls, I go over bookings at the very beginning. I use the Pampered Chef's booking and recruiting slide. I whip that thing out like Vanna White. I say, this is all you get. I said, this is all the stuff that Liz is going to get tonight because she's having us all over. So, and I always say, and feel free to ooh and ah. Those of you who have seen my live show, I have a ton of fun.
That's the big thing that you unfolded, right?
That's the big thing I unfold. And then and I'm going to pretend it's here. Ignore my pajama pants if you can see them. But when I get to the bottom and it says, and you get me, I pose.
Yes, she does. Every time.
Every time. And then they usually laugh. And I'm like, no, really, you can ooh and ah. Totally fine. Because I want them to see that I'm having fun. And when I'm having fun, people want to party with fun people, and busy people. So even if your schedule's not busy, make it appear that it is, and you'll get more bookings.
And that product is no longer available for the business supplies.
It is in there. I think it's $12. I just saw it today yesterday when I was ordering. It's called the booking and recruiting slide.
Maybe I'm just looking for the wrong thing. Okay.
Yeah, you want to go under supplies. It's in there. I can get the item number for you later. Just remind me.
That's fine. Thank you.
I think it's $12. It might be a little bit more, but if you have Pampered Chef dollars, you can still use it for that too.
Okay.
Okay, so go over bookings in your intro. I do it several times throughout my show, especially when people say, oh, did you bring the meat tenderizer? I say, no, I only brought what I needed for the recipes tonight, but I can bring it at your show. I'm planting that seed, and they're like, oh, I'm not having a show. By the end of the night, they're having a show. So find ways that you can interject it in throughout your show. There are, okay, so I used to use the door prize slips religiously, but I am now beta testing because Pampered Chef likes to throw me into the mix of new things all the time. So I am actually testing out this express party checkout. So I don't have people fill out drawing slips because they can go right on there at any point in time throughout the show and do their order, and it sends it right to my app for me so I can just check them out faster. So I'm testing that whole process. So I haven't been having them fill out the drawing slips, but if you're doing drawing slips, have them fill it out. And I never do it at the beginning of the show. I do it towards the end because I want them to already like me. And we've had fun and we've cooked and we've eaten delicious food. And I do the drawing slips before I give them dessert. Once you give them dessert, they're off the door, pretty much. So get the drawing slip before you serve dessert. Go over all the information on the drawing slip with them, and then do a little raffle for something. Now, I walk them through the boxes. So when you're looking, and I don't have one sitting here at my desk, but when you're looking at it, it always has those questions at the bottom where it says, I always say, there's going to be some questions at the bottom. Go ahead and read through them, look through them, because if you check nothing, I'm going to call you for everything. And then I say, really, I don't have time for that, but I'm going to go over it with you. So if you think, oh my gosh, I could totally do this better than Christina, and you want to make some extra money, and I always say no means no, not even if my kids had no shoes. Yes or maybe means you've got me curious. I'd like to take home some information, no strings attached. If you're interested in hosting a cooking show, that's what we did here today. So if you'd like to cook and entertain and get free stuff, yes or maybe means, all right, let's plan this. It doesn't mean you're committing to a date tonight unless you already know what month you want to get together, because my schedule does fill up very quickly. And then I always say, and if you want to do a catalog or virtual party, those are super easy to check that down, and then we'll be sure to get you set up with your month. And then I go over each of those. And then I always say, and if you check mark this box that says that to call you when your wish list goes on special, but you put nothing down, I am not a mind reader. I don't know what you want. If you want that rock crock, if you want new cutlery, if you want that cookware in your kitchen, let me know. So when it goes on sale, I can call you and say, hey, Lanisha, that cookware is 60% off next month. Let's get your friends together so we can get it for you at a great deal. What do you think? So you want to be able to kind of go over those with them. When you're doing virtual parties, it is harder to do a drawing slip with them. So you might need to talk more Facebook Messenger to each of the guests who's interacting and just kind of get to know them that way. Always ask for referrals. If people aren't interested in doing a party, you can always say, well, I love referrals. So if you hear of anyone that would like to make some extra money or is interested in having a fun night out, let me know. I would love to be able to pamper them. And then I like to send you a nice little thank you gift for your referral. Just let them know, have them tell me where they got my number, and then I keep a stockpile of stuff. So it's like season's best that are old and vintage that they can't buy anymore. I'll send them that kind of stuff. I'll send them toaster tongs. I'll send them recipe cards, something, just so that I can say thank you. Okay. Turn your host into your booking agent. We talked about that earlier. She's going to be seeing and talking to a lot more people than are actually going to be showing up at the party. Let her know she can get 50% off for each person that hosts a party. Technically, Pampered Chef says 6 months from the date of the show, but your past host is still a past host for an entire year, and Pampered Chef does not track who booked a party from who. So I always let them know that they have an entire year to host their party so that their host gets credit, because why not? If she gets 6 people who want to book shows, and they're not gonna want to buy stuff every single month for 6 months, I can extend them out, do them for a year, and then I've got a show every other month with the same group. Offer an incentive to the guests who book shows when you, something like when you get 3 bookings from that show, your host is going to get an extra prize. And you can have a bag there filled with stuff you got off the outlet, stuff that's extra items that you got in your kit that you've never opened, or things like that, so you're not having to spend a lot of money out. Or something like, when you book your show, I'll bring the ingredients for a molten lava cake. So that's going to cost you $3. Cake mix, frosting, eggs. Done. So, but know about your products when you're doing the demo to create interest in booking a show and purchasing them. Smile a lot and have fun with your people. Nobody wants to book a show with Eeyore, but they'll book with Tigger. Winnie the Pooh is my favorite. And I am kind of bouncy and crazy, but you know what? People love it. And they want to book parties with me because they go, oh my gosh, you're just so much fun. Why, thank you. It never feels like I'm working. Also, have your calendar ready and clear to book dates right then and there. And get them on your calendar that night if possible. Because if not, you're going to be going back and forth trying to figure out a date that works for them. So typically what happens is they're going to say, well, I don't really know what works for me right now. Can I call you back? And I say, well, that's fine. I said, or can I talk to a few friends? It's usually when I hear, can I ask around, see what everyone wants to do? And I always say, you know what, Sue, that most of the time what happens is when you tell your friends that you're going to be doing a Pampered Chef party, they are going to ask you when is it? And if you don't know when it is, then they're just going to say, oh, remind me when we get closer. So if you know right now what works for you, if a weeknight or a weekend is better, then we will be able to pencil in a date tonight. You can talk to the friends over the next couple of days, and then I will follow up with you and make sure that date still works. And then usually they always keep the date, and I put it in pen. All right,
I have a question. You skipped one, and I'm not sure what it is. Number 10, the 3-pile checkout.
Oh, I did. Okay, so do the 3-pile checkout. Ask every single guest every single question, which is, first question is, are you interested in taking any information home about the Pampered Chef? You want to talk about the business first, because what happens is people want to say no to something so they can say yes to something else. So if you're asking about the business first and they say no, and your next question is about booking a show, most likely you'll get that yes on the second one.
Okay.
So ask everything first. So are they interested in taking home any additional information about Pampered Chef as a company, or something like, what interests you about the Pampered Chef tonight? Make it open-ended. Were you interested in hosting a party of your own, getting some of these goodies for your half price? You know, and then the third one is, if they're not interested in anything, ask for the referral, and be sure to have a recipe card there or something that you can hand out to them, so that way they still take your information with you. Okay, start saying on the way to every party, I will get 2 cooking shows and 1 catalog show booked today. I am a booking magnet. Everybody wants to book a show with me. It's all about mindset and how you change your word choices and how you fix your self-talk. You know, we can talk ourselves in and out of everything. So last week we discussed our belief system, and I challenged you to strengthen your system so much that your belief in our 3 opportunities exudes you. But the opportunity to purchase, the opportunity to book a show, and the opportunity to join one of the fastest growing teams, not in the Midwest because we're in the Central Florida area. We're all over. We have consultants in 10 different states, by the way, in case anyone's asking you how big our team is. And when you wake up, the first thing you should say is, whose life will I change today? So our 4 pillars of success that we're talking about is belief, passion, skill, and will. So last week we talked about belief. Today we're talking about the passion of our products and our business and our shows and how we're going to be able to get that. Next week we're going to be talking about host coaching to be able to get that going. So this week I want you to look at your passion behind the company's booking opportunity. You have got to believe that we have the best thing ever and be so completely passionate about it that you can't help but book a ton of parties. Are you passionate at your parties? Are you passionate about your products? Can they tell that you're in love with these products? And can they tell how much fun you have and how crazy it would be not to have one of these parties with you? You have to try to paint a picture so that you can have a clear, so that they can have a clear opportunity and vision to see how fun it would be to join your team. We have fun. Every day we go to work, we end up at a party. You know, I love Pampered Chef. So here we go again. Answer yes or no honestly. This is just for you guys. You don't have to answer these out loud to me, but be thinking in your head, are you passionate about your Pampered Chef products? Yes, no. Are you passionate about booking shows? Are you passionate about sharing our business opportunity? Do you really feel like we can change lives with our business? And whether you are or not, it shows. If you're passionate about it, it shows. If you're not, it shows. So if you've lost your passion, how can you find it? So I would always encourage you, go to a national conference. Now we've still got some time to get there. National conference is going to be the first week in August this year. It's phenomenal. Also go through Pampered Chef University again. There's a ton of online training on there. There's amazing YouTube videos. If you need someone to watch, Sharon Zelen is fantastic, Zelen. Michael Reeves, Reeves, he is phenomenal. We are not going to be able to pull anything off like he does, but he paints such a great picture with his products. You'll love them. Play with your tools at home. Make sure that you are using them so you can talk about them. Attend team trainings. Those are huge. Not only does it build a great community, but it also helps you to bounce ideas off of everyone else. Listen to training calls like this one or previous ones. You can find a ton of audios on Consultants Corner. Find a batter bowl buddy to keep you accountable. That means someone who you can talk to that can nudge you and push you. It can be me. I don't mind being your accountability partner. I'm trying to get better at showing tough love. I'm terrible at that because I'm always like, you're doing great. And I don't say, what do you want to do? How can I help? I'm not so mean. So I'm trying to get better.
Christina.
I know, right? I'm trying to get better about being firm with love. I don't know how to mix it. So I'm getting coached with tough love so I can learn how it sounds. So if I come off mean, it's Christy Hendricks' fault. Blame her. But also it's a great way to, because sometimes you could be going through something that you don't want to tell me. You might be going, I can't get bookings. And if I call Christina, she's just going to say, well, have you done this? Have you done this? Maybe find someone else who you can bounce ideas off, or you can say, okay, what are you doing? Because this isn't working for me. You know, it might be someone outside of me, but of course I'm always available if you need me. Find a fair or a booth to work, because you're going to hear there how much everybody loves Pampered Chef. Set up a time where you can set up a table and have people coming to you. Come to Recipe Night. That's our third Monday of the month training. Lanisha, I do have my director, Nicole. She's in your area. They do 2 trainings a month also. So I will get with her on the dates so that way you guys can meet if you want to attend local training. Of course, I always love for you to come to me, but I'm a little bit of a drive for you.
Yes, you are, especially on Mondays.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting with Nicole is fine.
Yeah, and I think they're doing theirs on Monday nights also, but it's in Ocala.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Also find a Pampered Chef mentor, someone that you think, oh my gosh, they're doing great, I want to do that. And it might not be that you want to be exactly like them, but you might see, okay, Marissa does really good virtual shows. Let me talk to her and see what I can do to help my shows. Or, you know, Michelle's added a new team member. She's only been here for a week. What has she done that I could do and take? You know, so those kind of things. And I know I ran a little bit longer today because I started a few minutes late, but does anyone have any questions? We have about 3 minutes left on our recording.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Okay, good. I am going to assign you some homework. And those of you who have not seen last week's call, watch it. It's 25 minutes. I think there is some homework on there. But the call I want you guys to listen to this week, and I'll post it on the team page, is Listen to Abundant Bookings. It's by Susan Warshay and Missy I don't know how to pronounce her last name. It's on Pampered Chef University under bookings and then peer sharing. It's in that section. And I want you to share on our group page, our 6 Weeks to Success, at least 5 takeaways. So I am going to post this on the page. So do that before our next call next Wednesday night. Does the 9 o'clock time work better than 8:30 for you guys? Do you want me to move it back to 8:30 next week or keep it at 9?
Either works for me.
Yeah.
So,
No difference.
Okay. All right. I'll probably move it back to 8:30. I take that back. I might still be 9 o'clock. I have my cooking club next week, and they're usually done by 8:15. But I want to make sure that I give them time to get out, and then I can leave all my dishes until we're done. So let's plan for the 15th. I'll do 9 o'clock, and then the 22nd we'll be back to 8:30, and then we should be good to finish out the 2 weeks in March at 8:30 as well. Sound good?
sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right, guys, I will be talking to you next week. And as always, if you need time with me, one-on-one coaching, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. Trying to kick butts a little bit more this year. We'll see how that goes. All
Let's do
right.
it.
I know, right? Thank you guys so much, Sue. Get better. Take some more meds. Keep me posted on your health so I can bring you soup if you need it.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.